Gamers, welcome back. Let's go. Today I have a new profile. It's DICCLINK Adventurer deck stuff. It's been a deck that I've been testing for a couple of days / weeks now. It's like the second deck that I'm playing right now next to the Tenyi deck. And I am kind of liking it. It has a lot of pros, a lot of cons as well in comparison to the Tenyi deck. But it's still something that I'm debating on taking to events. I'm not certain yet. It still needs more testing, but the list that I have right now, I just wanted to showcase it. To keep you guys updated on, for one, what I'm playing, and for two, what this deck even looks like. Because I don't think it topped the YCS. I don't think it really did much. I think that the last video I saw on this deck was on Tetsim's channel from Raphael Naven from a couple of weeks ago, and the deck has evolved since then. And yeah, I just wanted to showcase a little bit of what I have been cooking up with this. So for the list itself, it's I'm not sure on the amount of cards, but it's a stack, as you can see. It is between 50 and 60. I believe it's 56 or 52. It is been calculated with the hand traps that you open. Like the math makes sense if you can just trust me on that. Like I play the amount of hand traps that it's comfortable to open 2 of the time, and this deck just needs a tuner and a non-tuner to play most of the time, because you can just go into Hulk, into the retro stuff again. So where the Tenyi deck does stuff like Blackout, and you do a little bit less stuff, but you lose to a little bit less as well, where this deck just has a way higher ceiling. But you also, like post-siding for example, Dark Ruler no more really ruins your day. So I'm still debating on what I think is better, because this deck can do more with monsters, you just have more options, where the Tenyi deck, just in general, it's a little bit less complicated, if that makes sense. And of course the argument of like if you get Dark Ruler, you still have Blackout set most of the time. So yeah, that's it's still something that I've been testing. I've been playing this for a little bit, and I just want to showcase the list that I've been testing for the last couple of days. So let's get straight into it. Of course, the best cards of the format. These cards should be in every deck you play right now, or you're doing something wrong. It's the 10 cards that make the Tenyi, or the Brave Engine, excuse me. It's a triple Enchantress, 1 Griffin, triple Ride, 1 Faithful, 1 Dracoback, and 1 Foolish Burial. For this deck, there could be an argument to play multiple Griffin. Reasoning being that this is a Winged Beast, and also a level 7. The level 7 comes up a little bit less in this deck, because it's not that hard focused on making Fleur, then going into Hulk and doing a Rorodon plays. But the Winged Beast can come up with your extra deck, because you play Romulus, which gets your Ravine, which gets your Dragon Engine rolling. Romulus can be made with dragons or Winged Beasts, so even opening this card is not that bad. So I've known, like before, for example, Quantal Think. We've been talking a little bit about this deck, and I know that Griffin can come up in certain hands, but it for me, it's not worth to just play the Winged Beast extender. You could also play fucking Danger Thunderbird in that sense. I just want to keep it at 1 to make sure that I open Engine most of the time. So yeah, you need to max out on the rest. I know some people are also playing Double Faithful. I do not know how I feel about that one. It's just another brick that gets your, like, one of your 2 pieces, of course. If you're Faithful with either one, you can always get your engine live, I guess, but it just doesn't really make sense to me to play multiple Faithfuls at this moment. Maybe I'm just uneducated on that sense. But yeah, it's 10 cards for the Brave package. Then sort of the bricks in this deck. It's the Red Rose engine, and I count Snow as well with the brick. So I'm kind of focusing on opening the Brave stuff and then going into Hulk Firex. So in your other combos, where for the Worm deck, for example, you don't make Shooting Riser that often, but in this deck, it really comes up that you make Shooting Riser, since it's also a dragon. So if you summon Hulk, you have your Brave token, and you do all your Red Rose stuff. You can make your Baronated Fleur, then make Shooting Riser, and then make the Shooting Riser into a Pisty. And then, because you send Snow, of course, so the Shooting Riser becomes level 3. It's legal to make Pisty in that sense. And then summoning back the Basil, or any Red Rose with the Basil, you can make the triple burst with your Hulk and your 1 Red Rose. So you have the Pisty access instantly. Which is a real strength for this deck, since it just does a little bit more. So instead of like the Yasi play for the Worm deck that you pop them with Fleur, this deck just goes comboing off from that point. So yeah, that's why I'm also only playing one Red Rose. It's not really a normal summon, it's just a target for Hulk, since there are better normal summons for this deck. But yeah, these are the 4 bricks that you try to play. Then for the Rocket Engine, triple of the best card in the deck, double Tracer, 1 Recharger, 1 Synchron, and 1 Abso Router Dragon. You can see these in your hand. The Tracer, it's basically the Quick Launch are the 3rd, 4th, and 5th copy of the Tracer. They are cards that you can always get to, you can always play to with your Dragon Shrine or your Foolish Burial or your Quick Launches or just like pretty much any way. This deck just plays to a way to get Tracer and then go do Synchro stuff. And these are all mostly bricks because you cannot really normal summon the Synchron to play because you have the Brave cards in your deck. And Recharger is just a level 4 for Tracer, which has the best effect. 1 Epso. There's not really any needs to play more. It's quite a brick, and since you don't play Safer, it doesn't have the interaction of like Safer pitching the Epso out to search an Noctivision, for example. So just playing 1 Descent from the Dragon Ravine is, in my opinion, correct for this deck. So yeah, that's for the Rocket Engine. Then we get into standard dragons. We have triple Black Metal Dragon. Right now I'm playing 1 Red Ice Darkness Metal Dragon. You could play 2, which gives you the option to chain block your Romulus as well. And since it's a strong mill of Chaos Ruler, for example, there is an option to play multiple. But I'm just not certain. It's the same sense for the Griffin card. It's just not a card that I want to see in my opening hand most of the time. I just want to see Black Metal, I just want to see my Rights, I just want to see my Enchantress, and then I'm gaming. So I really do not see the sense to play multiple of the Red Ice Darkness Metal right now. There are some lists that I have tested in, but those lists go to 60 cards most of the time. And then still, it would much better just be a hand trap in that case. So yeah, those are the 3 Black Metals, like the main normal summons of the deck as well, because it doesn't interfere with the Brave engine, of course. Then for another Dragon Extender, we have triple Noctivision Dragon. Another card that doesn't interact with your Brave engine, it doesn't counterfeit in any way. It's also a level 7, which can come up in some sense to make Baronade a Fleur sometimes. It also chain blocks everything. You can chain block your Striker Dragon, you can chain block your black and white Dragon. You can chain block Romulus to get a draw. It's just, in general, a very, very, very strong card. And I feel like it really needs its space in this deck, because it's just too good to chain block your cards to get your combo rolling. And being level 7 makes it a little bit better as well. So 2 field spells, the ones that you need to play, the Dragon Ravine and the Boot Sector Launch. You do not want to see these cards. Chaos Space, this card is absolutely busted in this deck. It's everything without a normal summon, plus extra draws, plus you can shuffle your Striker Dragon back for a better follow-up play, which is something you always want to try to do. Something else with Chaos Space, since this deck also plays, or I'm playing Fusion Destiny. And you can notice that I'm not playing Dasher, I'm playing Plasma. I'm playing Plasma because it's a hero that cannot be normal summoned. So if there is a scenario that you, for example, open Plasma with Chaos Space, or you mill the Plasma and the Chaos Space, or you have access to both, but your Plasma's in grave, you can banish your Plasma with Chaos Ruler or any other card that could banish, and then shuffle it back with Chaos Space to make Verte and Fusion Destiny live again. So that's the reason I'm not playing Dasher at the moment. There is also, of course, a lot of pros for Dasher, but I feel like the interaction with Plasma and Chaos Space just comes up a little bit too much for my liking. Since, yeah, there is just a really high chance to mill your pieces. If you mill them, you can just add them to your hand. If you mill Plasma and you have Chaos Space, you can do the play I just described. The only thing that's really, really bad to have is not having Chaos Space and milling both, which it happens sometimes in testing, but it's just like whatever, you just do not have DPE. But the reason I'm playing this, like, the main reason is that this deck, for one, just spams monsters, so you can very easily make Verte, and for two, the DPE really puts in a lot of work this format. Since it's basically just an Ogre on steroids that just comes back every time, and Ogre is like the best headshot right now, it has also like very cool interactions with this deck, since it's all dark, so you do not care for the Tracer lock as well. Just basically every deck in the meta dies to 1 pop. Like the Tenyi deck, if you just pop their tuner, they're done. If like Flanderies, you pop their map, that's a horrible matchup though, I don't want to talk about it. Like prank hits, you either pop the Fateful or the prank hits in normal summon. Like there's always a good sense for DPE to interact with. There's always something that it gets value from. And then again, it's a +2 the next turn because of the Celestial draw. And the DPE just keeps coming back, which is quite nice. Then again, they're also both not really bricks because they're both discards for Chaos Space. You can normal summon the Celestial to like with a quick launch or something to, because it's level 4 you can make Chaos Ruler sometimes. So I'm actually quite a fan of this package. I wasn't sold on it earlier, but right now I feel like it's a very necessary evil for this format. Then again, it's 2 extra deck slots, which this deck does not really have. So it has been something that I've been puzzling with. But I feel like, again, the pros outweigh the cons for this list. And then we get into the hand traps. So yeah, this is like the main portion of the deck. And for the hand traps, it's triple Ash. The reason I'm playing Ash in this deck, because it's not a light or a dark, so you cannot add it with Chaos Ruler. It's just too good not to play dark now. Ash just hits pretty much everything. And I feel like you just need to have it in your deck. It's a really bad argument. But it's just the way. The rest of the hand traps are all light and darks, or all lights actually. So Ash is just, it just hits everything. You can just hit the Enchantress, you can hit Vessel, which is a very strong card in the Tenyi deck. Hit a Prank It when they normal summon. Against back row matchups, this card always comes in clutch. So for the rest of the head traps, it's triple Ghost Ogre, the MVP of the format right now. Triple Effect Veiler. I will show these first. And triple Gamma with 1 driver, of course. Gamma driver is nuts in this deck because people always Ash or Chaos Space. People always like, if you can start with a spell starter like Ride or Enchantress, even it's not spell starter, but starter that doesn't clock the field. Summoning Gamma is so huge because it's a Chaos Ruler, it's a Hulk, it just does everything you want in this deck. So going second is just a very impactful hand trap. And going first, if they hand trap you on a spot that you can Gamma them, you just insta-win if you resolve it. So the reason I'm playing Veiler is, it's a tuner, it's a good effect negation, but I'm also playing Nibiru. So I always want to see Nibiru with either Gamma, Veiler, or Ogre. Because Ogre, Nibiru is a very cool interaction with the Brave Engine, which is very strong versus the Prank It matchup, because they do keep the Brave Engine on the field. And Nibiru in combination with either Gamma or Veiler just shuts off every other combo deck this meta. Because Nibiru, they chain Fleur, you chain Veiler, you chain Gamma, you just win the game instantly. So I wasn't sold on Nibiru earlier because you always need to see it with another card. But it just does a lot right now. And since you have a lot of hand traps, you're most often going to be opening 2. And if you open Nibiru plus Veiler or Gamma or Ogre in certain matchups, then it's just insta-win. Plus all these hand traps are light, so they're all discards for Chaos Space. And this deck most often lacks lights. So if you can just discard any hand traps you drew turn 1 to get a light engrave to like summon the Wyfer Burst or the Collapse Serpent, or get Chaos Ruler back on the field, it's quite nice that they're all light. And they all fill a role in the deck. Like these can all be normal summon to make Hulk. These make Hulk if you resolve it. And this card just insta-wins some matchups. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. I'm not sure how many cards it is. I believe it's 52 if I calculated correctly. I'm not sure, but you can count on that. For the extra, this is something that I had to make a lot of space. And it has been the hardest thing to do ever. Like, this deck would be nuts if you had, like, 20 extra cards. But since we don't, and I want to play Verte, and I want to play the Black Rose combo, or the Red Rose combo, it's very hard to make space. So, for the extra, we have Striker Dragon and Twisty. For the Link ones. I play Quad Brawl. I think this card is an absolute necessity. It's insane in certain matchups. Like, I know Tri-Brigade isn't that popular anymore, but it might get popular in the future again. And you just eat the Revolt and then make Quad Brawl, pop their Omen, and summon 3 Rockets back from your grave, and you insta-win the game. I feel like this card is insanely undervalued for certain people. I know Tetsun, for example, I had to talk him out of cutting it, because he wanted to cut the card because it never came up. And for me, every game I play, either going second or going first, it just does something insane. It either just makes Savage with 1 Rocket and 1 other card. It either just, like, gets rid of something on your opponent's field. It's just a generic out. I don't know, I just feel like this card is very necessary. It also has like a good arrow, honestly. Like if you have Romulus, you can then make the Pisty, and then like with any with any rocket, if you have access to it, you can just make the quad roll right here, and you have the zone for the Pisty. So there are certain scenarios where I really like the down arrow dragon card that also just does something else. It can also remove your Pisty from your field to like unlock your zones or like unlock the dragon lock. I just feel like this card comes up way too much to cut it. The debate is between this IP or Access Code Talker, which I'm not playing right now. So I'm not sure on that yet. So then one card, Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. Card is still nuts. You make this in standard combo where you have Pisty, triple burst, you go into Heretic Spheres and then just pop off from there. Romulus is necessary for the combo. Helk is necessary for the combo. Triple burst is necessary for the combo. I think you guys get the gist of it. Then I play a Unicorn. This could also be Access Code, but I feel like Unicorn just fills more options. Since, like, of course we play like 3 different attributes in Dark, but most times going second, you cannot really commit into a Helk or a Romulus because they just get negated and then you're just stuck. So you try to play towards a Unicorn, and if you would play Access Code from there, you just have 1 Dark to pop. Or to banish to make to pop a card, which is not something that comes up very often. So I feel like making the sense to cut the Access Code instead of the Unicorn, it just made sense in my head, because Unicorn, of course, also being a Link 3, it's easier to make, and it just removes the same amount of cards as Access Code Talker, but with less heavy input, you know. But this could have also been IP or Access Code. I feel like IP would be a little bit redundant without Unicorn in your deck anyway. But yeah, that could be Access Code in that sense. Then the Verte package, Verte and DPE. You could choose to not play these and just put in IP and Access Code. There's a little stack of like cards that I have been considering. Dark is also a card that I've been considering, since it's very nice in the mirror match and in the Tenyi matchup, since you can just steal their Rock Frost Dragon to search Basil to continue comboing. It's quite good to play that, but I feel like this just covers more and it's just way more impactful than playing those random one-offs that come up once every 10 games, you know? And then for the Synchros, it's Shooting Riser, Baronated Fleur. These are cards you could cut if you don't play the Red Rose package, but I feel like that package just adds so much. It adds snow to your grave. It just gives you a lot of protection through like Darkwood No More and stuff. So I feel like it's a very necessary evil. And with Baron, you always combo protected if you open like Brave plus Helk Access, which is something that this deck can do very easily. So I know that like I talked with a couple of people about this deck and they weren't playing this, or they were playing Baronet but not Shooting Riser. It was like there are ways to make it, but it just doesn't seem that comfortable for me. I feel like just playing the standard Helk line with the DPE, it just adds a little bit more. You just need to make some exchange in the extra deck for space. I'm not really playing a blowout card anymore. I'm not really playing a game closer. But I don't think that's a big problem with this list, because you can just make like big bodies and attack for game. And then finally, for the last 3 synchros, these are all like standard Dragon Link cards. It's Chaos Ruler, Hot Red Archfiend Abyss. This is also something you could cut, honestly. Like, this doesn't come up as often as you would think. And a Savage, this is something that comes up at basically every game. So I think this is a deck that I will be testing a lot more. I will be playing this on stream and yeah, seeing how it does. Since it's still very undefined for me. I still do not know if this is the better option or if the Tenyi deck is the better option. I feel like this has a lot of unexplored options and a lot of scenarios that I just haven't been in with it. So I need to test it more, I need to play it more, but I will probably, we have like 2 regionals next week. So if I top or win a regional with this deck, it will be fucking sick. But I will be playing this deck at one of those regionals. I'm not sure which one and what the list will be. But yeah, I will keep you guys updated on that. That's it for the deck profile. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment for the algorithm. Haha. And also, I am like 5 followers off of 1,000 on Twitch. So if you could follow me on Twitch, that would also be really cool. All the links are in the description. Thank you guys for watching and have a very nice day. Bye bye.